new life form has zero say in any aspect of their name. Not one.
Yeah, it's just so messed up. The whole thing is.
It is.
What a shit show, Charlie.
Oh my God.
Bastards from the outset.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like we're live. So welcome to everybody who's going to be joining us. And I'm just going to go ahead and start a watch party in the event is officially happening group. So we'll just give everyone a few minutes just to jump on the call. And just while we're waiting, just really extending this warm invitation to Charlie Freak for coming on our show, and just to let everyone know, I mean, myself and Liam have literally devoted 24/7 to being researchers with regards to what's really going on with the COVID, what's going on with the children, what's going on with the Trump administration. We spend all of our hours every single day putting the dots together. And we would say we are very deep down that rabbit hole. But we watched a video that you did, Charlie, with Mark Devlin, and it really was so powerful. Like, out of all the videos that I've seen, it was the most impactful for me in terms of putting the dots together. I thought the way you presented that information was absolutely phenomenal. And I've shared that video with so many people. Like, I personally sent it out, and I hadn't done that. No other videos had inspired me so much that I actually personally sent them out to people that I really love and care about. And I was just like, just watch this, guys. And to be honest with you, Charlie, I watched that video 3 times. I found it was so rich in information that I actually felt the desire to watch it 3 times so that I could very deeply absorb the information that you were sharing. So I just want to say thank you so much for your diligence and for your commitment to to shining the light on this important area. And you are so appreciated, brother. Like, you really are, and you're helping so many people, and I've got a really massive community, so just you helping me has had a massive impact on so many people. And so I just want you to know that you're so appreciated and you're so valued. So thank you, Charlie.
Thank you very much. It's as I say, all of this has just been a humbling experience because as we were talking just before the show, it's all about ending this for good, for once and for all, for the sake of our children. And as a species, we are the pinnacle of God's creation, and it's high time we started to act like it. And this life is about becoming the mass star. It's not the apprentice. We have just gone on and on and on. I mean, everything with POTUS is symbology, everything. And so there's no mistake that he did a TV show called The Apprentice prior to becoming the president of the United States, because it's symbolic and it ties right into the gold standard. So part of what we can talk about today is I have been through the Q team. A whole bunch of more information was shared with Colleen and I about what's coming up. Just trying to help people to understand the process, and that the process needs to come gradually, not all at once, because we're not prepared for all of the immense gifts. Now, they are our rich gifts, and they are ours because they originate through God's creation, but we're not fully prepared yet to receive everything that is coming. So it's going to be a bit of a process, but it's about becoming the mass star, the master. And I always say it, the masked star, because whether you are a Bedouin on a camel in searching for treasures upon the land, or you are the sailor, the captain with the captain's eye upon the sea, you are in search of the same thing, and that is the truth. And the truth is God's creation, and therefore it's God. And that's the only way in which any one of us, your story and mine are very similar, because we have both just given ourselves to this process, no matter where it leads us. which is to seek the truth. And if you seek the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, you will find God, because God wants you to find him. And he is in everything, including us. So all we have to do is just be beholden to one thing, and beholden to the truth. And it doesn't matter what it makes us look like or where it takes us, because this is so much bigger than ourselves. And so Donald Trump being the apprentice to the president is foreshadowing this new age, which is the gold standard. So everybody is so obsessed with Nasara, and we want to change everything and receive all of these wonderful gifts, and they are coming. And of course, we are going to get rid of we already have behind the scenes, they have already junked the monopoly money. And in essence, we are upon a gold standard. But you see, with Q, with R, and with POTUS, it's so much bigger than just the physical plane. So the gold standard means something much more than just dollars and cents. This is the gold standard of mankind, and we must rise to the golden standard, because again, we are the children of the Creator. So what is Creator? Nobody takes the time to examine any of these words. One of the things that Colleen and I excel in is etymology, not going to a dictionary and listening to what the Phoenicians lie to you about what a word means in a dictionary, because it's all lies. But if you go to the root of these words, they tell you the truth, because it'll take you back to Sanskrit, Latin, Greek, and then eventually Sanskrit. And there you will find the etymological root of these words. And so Creator, Kriya is to make, and ore is gold. So the Creator makes the golden creation, and earth is the golden creation, and mankind is the pinnacle of God's creation upon this earth. And so therefore we are the golden children on the golden creation by the golden Creator. So everything about us is gold, and we act and run around like tarnished silver, and we have to change. And that is to become very simple. The secrets to everything are so very simple. It's going to the right. Everything is about going to the right, and that is becoming righteous. So in every moment, whatever decision you're about to make, you just make it for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. And that is the simple greatest barometer that any of us can follow in this life, is becoming righteous. Because if there's one thing that God wants and asks of us, is that to be custodians, because that's what we are. We're the custodians of this perfect creation, which is the Gaia, Mother Earth, and we have to exalt her. And this is, one of the worst things. But I mean, just think, the Catholic Church is the Phoenicians. So and the Catholic Church is the Order of Jesus, which are the Jesuits. And the Jesuits are the worst evil that has ever existed upon this earth. They are the creators of all the evil, of all the horrible things that you've ever heard of, and right up to adrenochrome and harvesting children. This all comes from the minds of the Jesuits. And you need to remember, the Jesuits are the Order of Jesus. There is no other historical basis for the figure of Jesus Christ other than the Order of the Jesuits. And the Order of the Jesuits are the biggest liars and the most vile, disgusting excuses for mankind that has ever existed. So we cannot take a thing that they say at face value. We have to dig deeper and learn to come to the truth ourselves. You cannot. So if you take a look at Western Christianity, it doesn't matter what denomination a person may find themselves now within the princedom of Protestant religions, protesting the evils of Catholicism. Doesn't matter. All that Protestant religions have done, they've taken the heart of Catholicism and they've made it their basis. And then they've changed little bits, little things, but the whole basis to the story is all Catholicism. And Catholicism is a complete lie. That's not Christianity. And people will get angry with that, but it's the truth. And people will get angry with the fact that the creation of Jesus Christ is inaccurate. Let me be kind, and I'll say it that way, that the creation of Jesus Christ comes solely through the order of Jesus, which are the Jesuits, and there is no basis anywhere. It's not in the Greek documents that from which, because I've read the Greek documents and we have them ourselves. We have one of the oldest standing forms of the King James Bible in English as well. And you go through all of these documents and there is no basis for it. They've invented it. Now, what does exist, of course, is the Christed one, which if you want to call Christ Jesus is very beautiful. And that is very, very real. And then people will say, but I think that's semantics, Charlie. Like, what would be the difference between Jesus Christ and Christ Jesus? And of course, the answer is everything. That's our world. Everything that they've done is 180-degree, complete, upside down reversal of what the truth is. And we're at a point in our existence where we have to start getting serious, and we can no longer be little children about this and pout and then be angry at one another and throw sticks and throw stones. We need to listen. You need to listen, you need to consider, and then you need to resonate with what is being shared with you. And then you just slowly let it seep inside of you and see through your own inner workings what comes holistically, what comes completely to you inside. And then you will know the truth, because the truth lays within, not without. And yet everything in society, of course, it's all out there. Everything is, if you want to know the truth, you buy a book or you go to Wikipedia. And of course, how could any of that be the truth when the basis to our organized society is a monetary-based system, regardless of whether you want to see it as capitalism or socialism or whatever. It's all a monetary-based system, which means that information can be bought and sold and knowledge can be hidden. And so if you're the few, and in this case, we all now know that we're being ruled over, or were ruled over by the Phoenicians. That's 13 families that hail to the children of the Canaanites of the Holy Land. Cain killed Abel, and then Cain, because he's solely in the left brain, didn't bury Abel into the ground. No, because when you're so inured in the left brain, when you're solely of the left brain, there's no access to God. Physiologically within the human brain, there's no access to the third ventricle, the magic mind, the higher mind of the human brain. There's no access. The left brain is an electrical circuit that is kind of like unto itself. And when you're trapped there, there are no limits to the depths that you can fall or sink into. And so this is where the word cannibal comes from. And what are we presented with today? We're presented with cold, caring less individuals who eat human beings, and in particular, who literally raise children to be eaten young and to have their essence stolen so that they can live a little longer. Now, that is what's called Cain eating Abel. Cain, Abel. Cannibal is Cainable.
Cain, Abel.
Cainable. Cannibal is Cain, Abel. Cain ate Abel. Everything is about the left brain versus the right brain. Everything.
Wow. Fascinating.
And that's how the Bible is written. The Bible is completely written by what you see in the Holy Land. So if you just get an aerial view of the Holy Land and you look down on it, you'll see the Sea of Galilee in the north is shaped exactly like a human skull. You'll see that the Jordan River is the perfect human spine, and you'll see that the Dead Sea is the sacrum. Now that's known as the torso of the human being. And the Bible is written allegorically about the crown of the skull to the sacrum. Everything about our existence, both physically and metaphysically, including our superhighway of the chakras, it all runs from the torso to the crown of the skull. That's why God made the Holy Land. That's why God made the Holy Land a perfect representation of his teachings, of his messages. There it is in plain sight. It's all about that. So when people struggle with all of this truth that we've been sharing, lots have gotten it and lots struggle with it, because the reason they struggle is because they don't know thyself. And what does the Bible say most powerfully? What does the Bhagavad Gita say? What do the Buddhist sutras say? The Vedas, the Upanishads, the Quran, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, they all say the same thing, that real treasure is knowing thyself. When one knows thyself, one exalts thyself to heaven, because then one knows the secrets of God and God's creation. And then you are free. The only freedom that exists is within us. So you have to know thyself. And if we sat here and did a 20-question survey with the listeners, most would probably get 18, 19 out of the 20 questions wrong, because they know so little truth about their own physiology. And that, of course, that's inexcusable. That's where we should be starting with anything. And of course, the only classroom that exists, that's the whole reason why everything is the way it is that Mother Earth is the classroom, and the Father is the prize that we must discover and then enterprise, the Starship Enterprise on Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry was a massive Gnostic and follower of the teachings of the Bible and the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita. And Star Trek is not about outer space. We don't have the time to go into it today, but I can show you 1,000 examples powerfully of how Gene Roddenberry showed that Star Trek, The Next Generation, anything that he had his hands on with Star Trek is only about meditation, and it's only about going within. And if anyone remembers, just think about this magical moment. Think about the opening shot of Star Trek: The Next Generation. So this is season 1, episode 1, which by the way is Adventure at Farpoint, and then that's the first time we meet Q. You think this is an accident? There's no such thing as coincidences. So the Q team, and to an extent John F. Kennedy, were absolutely connected to Gene Roddenberry and to Star Trek. And those Star Trek episodes, especially on Star Trek: The Next Generation, are loaded with Q stuff, and even references to Donald Trump.
Really?
It's foreshadowing everything that's coming. Mm-hmm. And the Q character, and the way that the Q character is played, is the irascible nature of Donald Trump. It's like perfectly foreshadowing the arrival of Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has portrayed himself all the way before coming president is kind of like this figure that, yeah, he cares about us, but he's kind of an irascible figure, a bit difficult to get to, and he can be quite challenging and quite hard on us and whatnot. So he's almost identical to the figure of Q on Star Trek: The Next Generation. But if you go back to the very first shot of the very first season of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and it's Captain Jean-Luc Picard, right? So it's J.L. Picard, J, Jesus, L, Lucifer. So in that JL, Jesus and Lucifer, you have the right light and the wrong light. And so you have the left brain and the right brain. And so that entire seven, right? So God intervention, the number 7 seasons of shows are all about the journey of Jean-Luc Picard to go to the right, to overcome all of these challenges and become a goodly, godly, righteous person. And the first shot, when you look at it, it's in a dark, it looks like it's a Tibetan monk in meditation, and the camera, it's in darkness, and the camera slowly pulls back. The only source of light, it just appears to be something up here. And then as it pulls back, you see it's a bald head. And you're thinking, yeah, my God, he's going to start all of this with like a Tibetan monk in meditation. This is so cool. And then as he pulls back, you see it's Picard, Jean-Luc Picard, and in a dark space, and that his head is the only illumination in this dark room, which is the exaltation of the higher mind, which is the realm of God, which is heaven upon earth. And that's it. That's how that show starts. And that first episode is all about Q. The last episode is all about Q. And in between, Q visits and keeps Picard growing, keeps challenging Picard to grow and grow. And it's all about becoming righteous, goodly, godly, and righteous. And so it's incredible. So we're not alone. We're not alone. And in Hollywood, like we just talked to everyone. I did a little podcast about is JFK John Galt from Ayn Rand's novel Atlas Shrugged. Well, no, that's one of the greatest books ever written. Fountainhead, which she wrote first, and then the Atlas Shrugged trilogy, which she wrote second, Ayn Rand, are two of the greatest novels because they're all about becoming the master, becoming the mass star, becoming the individual. And then we can help others once we exalt ourselves, but that's what we have to do. And so nobody in Hollywood wanted to see those movies made because they empower you. They empower me, they empower us on what the truth is and how to take back your power and how to become powerful within yourself. And so how do those movies get made? Maybe money from the Kennedy family, maybe money from John Kennedy, maybe money from Donald Trump. And so what we discovered is that, and I'm going to put it into a video that's coming out very, very soon. But in the first minute of Atlas Shrugged, the movie, Atlas Shrugged Part 1, because it's parts 1, 2, and 3. And in Part 1, in the first minute, there is a voiceover on the news. And it's somebody reporting what's all gone wrong. And by the way, Ayn Rand had it nailed. She just described exactly what we're going through right now. And there's this reporter reporting. It's the exact same voice as the Twitter character right now known as Define Projection. And if anyone who is a real QAnon, you'll know that Define Projection is one of the nom de plumes of Q or R, which is JFK Jr. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be JFK, but nothing that's being said through the figures of Joe M, 3 Days, 3 Nights, Define Projection, nothing that is being said through these people on the platforms of Twitter and elsewhere on social media is being done without the approval of John F. Kennedy Jr. So that is literally, in one way or another, that literally is John F. Kennedy Jr. So here we go back to 2011 and the release of the first Atlas Shrugged movie, and here's the exact voice, not close, the exact voice of Define Projection as speaking on Atlas Shrugged. And then in the first two movies of Atlas Shrugged, they don't show who John Galt is. John Galt is kind of like a shadowy figure. He doesn't present himself until the third movie. And then the third movie is, of course, called Who is John Galt? And so is that John F. Kennedy Jr.? To give him a very powerful role in those movies and not compromise his being alive. So we're not alone. And there's quite a few movies in Hollywood that have been done. Colleen and I are convinced, for example, that the BBC Sherlock series that was done through Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat was very likely encouraged by or funded by Donald Trump and the Q team, John F. Kennedy Jr. as well. Because if you look closely at the journey of Sherlock Holmes, the BBC Sherlock Holmes, it is sort of mimicking the life and times of John F. Kennedy Jr. as well. And everything about seasons 3 and 4 is, you know, all about his coming back to life. And then who does he have to take down? It just puts it in, wow. I mean, season 4 of BBC Sherlock, whatever you want to say, it's episode that's on BBC and blah, blah. Hey, season 4, wow. They laid it out for you, exactly what's going on and who's behind things. And so we're not alone. And there are people that have been keeping an eye on us and helping us and trying to guide us. And so, yeah, sorry for that little rant there, but it's a good way to get started.
It was a good rant, Charlie. I've been wanting to watch Star Trek, and there's a scene on it, and it's a guy with a whiteboard, and he's got 7 points, and it's a cube, and then there's a point outside of the cube, and it's going to in the middle of the cube, and like those points are like your occupation, your initials, your first name, your last name, and your date of birth, etc. I wondered if you know anything about that, if you've noticed it as well. The guy looks like
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you know, everything is a duality. And when we fell from the singularity of the grace of God in heaven, which when it first existed, it was a pure singularity. So there was no physical earth, there was no physical form. We are what we literally, truly are, which is our essence, which is our consciousness, which is soul. Soul is part of the sea of God, which is in this reality is magnetic electrical energy. It's the ether. What is God? God is the ether. And magnetic electrical energy, what is it? It's an eternal 8. It's a perfect eternal 8. What do we know about the number 8? There's no beginning. There's no end. By the way, this is the basis to Tesla's work on free energy and transmitting wireless energy. It's not electricity. Electricity is a transverse temporal wave. It comes and it goes, it dies. So if you live in your left brain, which is just an electrical circuit, then you'll be born, you'll live, you'll die, you'll have rebirth. And of course, that's the wheel. That's the wheel of the samsara, which, by the way, they place for you in plain sight to laugh at you and have fun at you in London, because the great Ferris wheel, on the Thames, close to the Parliament buildings, I believe, that great wheel is telling you what you are. You're a slave to the left brain, to the ego, and that's what you're only going to experience is around and around. So the samsara, which is that great wheel of life, is only in the left brain. It can't be in the right brain. The left brain is an electrical circuit that can overload. People who go crazy and do crazy things in the moment, they blow a fuse, right? Isn't that what we say? The person has literally blown a fuse, and their circuits have crashed and they've just gone off the deep end. Exactly, because they're in their electrical left brain. The right brain is magnetism, which is a field. Magnetism is not circuits, it's fields, and fields are flooded with the essence of life, which is the ether. So the great thing about what's coming with Nasara and the new energy is that magnetism never dissipates. So once we're gifted this transmission of eternal magnetism or eternal energy, you can have 15 different things going in your house at once, and you'll never have to worry about running low, or you might trip the breaker or blow a fuse or anything like that. That's not how magnetism works. Magnetism is always on and it never dissipates. And of course, that's what's been hidden from us. So you can get a degree in university in virtually anything. You can get a degree in poetry about auto mechanics, and you can become an auto mechanic, but you can also, become poetic about being an auto mechanic. It's so ridiculous and esoteric what they'll teach for paper money in a college or university, but they won't teach you about magnetism. They won't. Because it's the answer.
So I just oh, sorry, carry on, Charlie.
Well, just really quickly, so going back to that, so what you're seeing is what they're showing you, that Liam was referencing is the duality, and it's the duality of our relations. So where we live, where we fell from the perfection of the grace of God in the singularity above, we fell below. And once we fell below, we have to have the opposite of above. So if the above is a singularity, the below is a duality. And how do all of our dualities work? With polar opposites. So everything is a polar opposite, so that the gift of free will means that we can never finish, we'll never get bored, and we can never ever be the same, because there's an infinite possibility of decisions. Even if it's the same event occurring every single day, we still have an infinite options of how we respond to it. That's the gift of God, this gift of free will, so that we're never bored, we can never ever be finished. It'll always seem fresh and new because of this brilliant creation. So everything is a polarity. So when you look at that scene and you look at that image, what you're seeing is that there's two enterprises. Okay, the false enterprise is the system of commerce upon the maritime seas, and that is the maritime admiralty laws and the creation of corpse orations. A corp oration is a dead institution; it's not living. So that's the duality of our reality. So something is alive or it's dead. So yeah, that's why in America they had to. That's eventually why they gave Black Americans the right to be considered as an actual human being and have actual rights in America. That I think is that the 10th or the 12th Amendment. And when they created that amendment, what they very quietly did at the back end of it is they tagged corporations in with people of color. So very quietly they made corporations a form of a living, breathing human being, and we signed off on it, kind of surreptitiously, not knowing, but we've gone along with all of this. And so what they've done, so to explain this to your listeners really, really quickly, if all the stuff you've heard about your slave identity and the straw man identity of the maritime admiralty laws, is it works this way. When you were born, they call it birthing, and because to them it's taking you from the eternal seas of God above, because the firmament is there and it separates the oceans above from the oceans below, and these are oceans of ether. Not talking about ocean waves. It's the essence, which is the ether. So we're brought in from the Mary, the mother Mary, we're brought in from the maritime seas via the birthing canal. And then when we come down the birthing canal, right there to catch us is a doctor. DOCKTOR. So the doctor is there to catch gold. We're the gold. We're what's valuable. We're what's real. And that's what they're doing. They're capturing us. And then this is why nurses and doctors are taught not to let bare babies' feet touch the earth, touch the ground. So that's why they have paper down where the babies are born, or there might be a blanket or whatever, but they never allow the baby's feet to touch earth, to touch the mother. And so that to them symbolizes that we were never truly born into this world, which completes itself when the parents are discharged from the hospital and they sign off on this birthing certificate. And if you read the fine print on a birthing certificate, it literally is saying that your child is not a living, breathing human being, but a representation of a 3-word, all capital name. In other words, a corp or corpse. That's where core comes from the dead. It's a corpse oration. So it's a living dead. It's the living dead. So do you know why? So you see why they do all those movies in Hollywood about zombies and that we walk around as zombies, the living dead, and we're kind of awake, but we're not really awake and stuff. That's this whole system, all of us. And that's what gives them, in their minds, that's what allows them to do all the horrors to us and never have to worry about going to hell because they're not actually dealing with us, because they've tricked us, but they don't look at it that way. They don't look at it that way. They say your parents should have known better. So they've tricked us into signing our children off as chattel, as a corporate asset that is owned by the state. And that's exactly how the birthing process, birth certificates are all work. And that's why you have to go to school. It's why you have to get vaccinations, why you have to pay your taxes. None of these things are legal. None of these things, sorry, I shouldn't say that. All of them, of course, are legal, because legal refers to maritime admiralty laws. Legal is a fake word. It's an inventive word. Lawful is God's word. Lawful are the laws of the land. And there are only 3 laws of the land. It's simple. And there are no laws upon the high seas. That's why there are pirates on the high seas, because the high seas are wild. It's the West. And so when you come on land, that's why the earth has to be flat. That's why the earth has to be still and stationary, because that's where we come to find peace and to find God. And whether you're upon the sea or whether you're upon a camel and you are a Bedouin, everyone is seeking for the real treasures of this world, which are God. And so that's what you're seeing in that image, that they're showing you the 2 enterprises. So the enterprise of commerce of the maritime admiralty laws, and that we are assets, like you say, first name, middle name, last name, slave name, and that a number associated with it, and you can be owned. Or what Gene Roddenberry is clearly saying with the Starship Enterprise is that when you enter within, you receive the prize. So enter in, receive the prize, enterprise. And if you don't go within, then there's only one other reality. I'm sorry, but this is the absolute truth. If you don't go within and take control of yourself by going within, then all that's left for us is the out there. And the out there is completely controlled, or was completely controlled by these demons. And you are a living dead zombie. You are a slave. You don't count. You're not even real. And so they can do anything to you. So again, what are we finding out about our food? What is everybody starting to find out? What's in McDonald's? What have they found in McDonald's? And hey, it's not just McDonald's, it's Wendy's, it's every fast food restaurant. What do they find? They're finding human fetus tissue in all of this fast food restaurant food, okay? And you start to do the research into all various aspects, and basically everything that we're told to eat, which are animals, that's insane, folks. Let's just think about this for a sec. You eat food, ostensibly you eat food to have life and to be healthy. So let's just examine this for a sec. Commonsensically, no religion, no judgment, just common sense for a sec. Just go with me here. We eat food to have life and health. So we participate in a system that force breeds 1 trillion living sentient beings of God. Then, because it's a business, well, we can't just have them running around everywhere because it costs too much money. It's a business. So we force them to live in abject hell, and we torture them by this existence. And then they get sick on us. We can't have that because it's a business. So then we have to give them medicine. And the medicines that we give them are, antibiotics and growth hormones to speed the process up. And so these tortured, diseased, and mentally abused, beautiful creations of God are living in whole terror and torture their entire lives. Then we murder them completely against their will. If anyone has looked at any of the documentaries, you will see the cows literally crying. They know we run an animal rescue sanctuary. We're surrounded by fields of cows that these farmers have. And now it's grazing season. They let them loose, and we let them stay in our area because our area is all fenced off and away from the highway. We're out. We live in Mexico. We live in the countryside. We live out of town. We're virtually by ourselves, but our area is all fenced in, and the access to our road to get to our house has a gate. So versus then have the cows outside of our property on this one road. And you just need to know this about the Mexicans. If there aren't speed bumps every 20 feet, they drive at about 200 miles an hour nonstop. So that's why if you've ever come to Mexico and you notice how many topes or speed bumps there are, there's topes everywhere. There have to be, because if there weren't, they'd be driving 100 miles an hour down a school playground. So what we've done is we've opened up our property to allow these cows to graze in this area where we live here, and they poop and they pee everywhere, and it creates even more work for me, and I have no time for any more work, but it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And these cows, they gravitate to our house. I guess maybe they like our energy or whatever, and they're just the most incredible. They just stare at you, and then you stare at them, and the connection, it's like there's a conversation, because they're so emotional and they're so emotionally aware. They're not stupid animals. They're unbelievably intelligent creatures, and they're very emotional. That's why they've been targeted for food, because it's the worst sin that we can create within the animal kingdom, is doing this to cows, because cows feel so much emotionally. So then we murder them against their consent, and then we let their remains sit and rot for a while to be filled up with worms, because that's exactly what happens as soon as something stops living. It's decaying. That's the decaying process. No, it doesn't. No, you can lie to yourself. That's cognitive dissonance. But the truth is, as soon as something is no longer living, it's dying, which means decaying. And that means that the worms are decomposing. That's exactly how it works. So that's what we do. So we force breed, torture, murder, and then eat decaying, worm-infested death, all for the purpose of living and having health. Sorry, where's the commonsensical logic in any of that? And the other thing is that so simple to understand, my dear friends, is this: that there are 4 types of food eaters in this creation. There's only 4. You can be a frugivore, you can be a herbivore, you can be an omnivore, or you can be a carnivore. So there's only 4. We human beings, 100%, like not 95% or something, 100% inside and out, we human beings are frugivores. And what do all other frugivores eat? They eat raw foods. That's it, raw foods. And what do they predominantly eat? Fruit. Some vegetables, some nuts, some seeds, but it's mostly just raw fruit. And what do all the frugivores look like? They are thin, they are athletic, they are super fast thinkers, they are very creative, they're very loving, they're very family oriented, they're very peaceful, they're very caring, and they're very compassionate. And again, just like very quick, athletic, nimble creations. Yeah, because they're eating the essence of who they are, which is raw fruit. If you take a look at the opposite end of that, which are carnivores, okay? God made carnivores. For whatever reason, God made carnivores. He did. Carnivores kill, and then they lap up blood fresh. Carnivores do not eat flesh and tissue. If they'll eat anything, carnivores will only eat organs. Why? Because organs are filled with blood. That's why they'll eat the organs, because they're filled with blood. So all carnivores are killers. They eat fresh, they eat raw, and they lap blood. That's what a carnivore is. Now, we humans come along and we're frugivores at this end. We're way over here, we're frugivores. And then we're told to be way over here and we're carnivores, but we don't do what carnivores do. Carnivores kill for themselves. You see, we don't kill for ourselves. We have other people do it for us because it's easier. It's just, you know, it's messy. And honestly, it's very, I just don't want to see it. So you don't want to be reminded of what you're participating in, but you know, it never goes away. You can't hide from the truth. It's there. And so you're killing yourself emotionally and physically by doing what you're doing. So a carnivore eats raw, kills for itself, laps up blood, fresh, raw. And it's all about the blood. We cook our food. We're the only species that cooks our food. Why do we cook our food? Because somebody told us to. Is that a good reason for doing anything? Because somebody told us to, and then we've institutionalized it through generations. We pass it on. We're the only species that cooks food. Do you know, folks, that carnivores, when there's a forest fire and they have to flee the forest, when they come back into a forest and they'll find various animals that were not able to make it out of the forest and they get burned alive. So there's all sorts of cooked flesh in the forest. They won't touch it. They don't touch it. They don't eat cooked meat. The only people that eat cooked meat are human beings, and we're frugivores. 100%. So we've got everything backwards. So if you're not entering within to receive the prize, enterprise, then you're out there and you're playing the game of enterprise, which is commerce. And we are a corporation, the living dead playing the game. And we're at the bottom of the pyramid. And that's why you see, they show you what they show you. They are the exalted I, which is the pineal gland. And again, just really quickly here, the truth community has just learned and taught everyone to fear and demonize these beautiful creations. Pyramid is beautiful. It's a triangle. And the all-evil, all-seeing eye of the Illuminati, it's not evil at all. That's your pineal gland. That's the gateway. That's a portal. The pineal gland is a portal between duality and singularity. It's your how you go to God. Genesis 32:30. In Genesis 32:30, Jacob, the whole story of Jacob, leaves his family behind, crosses the river by himself, wrestles his ego for a day. And at the end of a day, the ego says to him, "Are you going to quit?" And Jacob says, "Nope, not until I find God. I'm never going to quit." And then the Spirit of God comes forth and says, "What is your name?" And I am Jacob, son of. And he says, "That is too poor a name for you. I shall call you Israel. And the land, the promised land of milk and honey shall be yours eternally, and for thy children to populate, and to create this new land, this new world through the land of milk and honey, the promised land." This is an allegory about meditation, going within, activating the pineal gland, and entering into the promised land that flows with milk and honey. The milk and honey, the honey is the pineal gland, and the milk is the pituitary gland. Joseph, Mary, male, female, electrical, magnetism, positive, negative. It's all there. It's our essence. And so it's all there for us in plain sight. So sorry for that longer answer, Liam, but that's exactly what they're talking about. You have a choice in life. You go within with Q. If you go within and create the Q, then that's entering the prize and receiving manna from God. And if you don't go, then they own you. And you are a victim as a corporation, walking around as the living dead. Back over to you guys.
Thanks, Charlie. I just wanted to jump in there because I wanted to ask everyone to share this video, and I didn't really get a chance. So guys, if you could share this video, it would be really, really appreciated. I'm sure there are lots and lots of people that would love to hear what Charlie has to say. So I just wanted to jump in there just to ask everyone to share the video. So we haven't really got that much longer left, but I just wanted to run by a couple of things with you. Firstly, when I first just heard you speak about Donald Trump. You spoke with such conviction, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone speak with such conviction about the situation. And I'd love to know, like, how do you know, like, where do you get this information from? Do you have inside information? Are you just simply putting the dots together? Are you just a very, very highly intelligent person that's working it all out? or yeah, so that's my first question, is how because I stand in a similar level of conviction, but I don't have as much information as you have a vast amount of information about how Trump has basically, it kind of like taken over the world, if you like, for want of a better way of putting it. Like, we watched that video whereby you explain that when he goes to Israel, he's allowed to pray at the Wailing Wall, and then they give him, they say that finally America can have an embassy in Jerusalem. So that was like that was like Israel acquiescing to Trump. Also,
that's absolutely right.
Yeah, talking about Saudi Arabia and about how they did that dance, that sword dance.
And remember, some people are saying, well, I saw some other people will sort, nah, it's the king's sword. The king's sword of the king of Saudi Arabia cannot be touched by anybody but the king of Saudi Arabia. Anyone who touches the king's sword, it will be beheaded. It is the death penalty by beheading. So you cannot touch the king's sword. There's Donald Trump and remember, they created sort of a phalanx around Trump. So Trump was at the head of them. He was slightly raised above them. He had the king of Saudi Arabia's black sword. And then, of course, you can see it in all of their faces. I've never seen Trump with such sort of an exalted series of smiles. And he never stopped. When you look at the footage, he never stopped smiling through that entire process. And remember, there's a lot of Saudis that were so happy because they don't want to be raising children for slaughter. Everyone needs to know that the people who are doing this are a small group. It's not even close to the majority. They just happen to have the power right now. And they're the ones that are doing this. Like Al-Walin was the demon, and bin Salman is of a pure and a righteous group of the Saudis. I mean, they have no problem having slaves, and they have no problem accumulating all of their wealth, but they also don't raise a cash crop of children for adrenochrome. So, and it's the same thing with what happened in China. So if just really quick update for everyone, the Chinese are making the rounds, and people are going, oh my God, like the Chinese delegation just came to New Zealand and Australia, they're buying us and they're controlling us. Charlie, please help. What's going on? Because I think that the Chinese are coming. No, the Chinese group that is making the rounds across the earth right now is a delegation of the new Chinese Republic. It's all in place. It's all in place, and it will be announced at the proper time. And this delegation, the Chinese, we have to feel so horrific for them, because they have been ruled brutally for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And what they've been asked to do the last 150 years is abominable. It is horrific beyond description. And you think that the average Chinese person is just okay with this? They're not. But if they protest, they're killed on the spot. That's what we've seen for the longest time. So they welcomed Trump with open arms. That's why when Trump visited them in Beijing, they took him into the center, the heart of Beijing, and went to the Forbidden City. They don't do that for foreign dignitaries, but they did it because Trump is Cyrus. Trump, the 45th president. 4 + 5 is 9. 9 is God consciousness. In the Bible, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, is this figure of Cyrus. Who is Cyrus? Cyrus is this strong person who God chooses, very much like Joshua and Jericho. God chooses Cyrus to become his physical body, his physical hands, to take down the heathens, to take down these Satanists, And he opens doorways and pathways, and he gives Cyrus enormous powers. Please don't roll your eyes when you hear this. That's exactly what's happening. We are at the heart, the height of the path of the sun. Remember, the sun does this beautiful figure 8 every single year. It does, just like the moon. The moon does a perfect figure 8 every month. The sun does a perfect figure 8 every single year. Well, the sun does a perfect figure 8 every great year, which is every 26,000 years. And that's how long it takes for the sun to go from the very center of each of the 12 constellations and then return to the starting point. It takes 26,000 years. And that's why we get these ages. Each age is about 2,200 years. As the sun is going through that constellation. So the sun right now is going through the constellation in the sky of Aquarius. And so the man bearing the pitcher of water. So, and water is always a representation of cleansing and the lies and revealing the truth. That's what's happening. One will come later to give the baptism of fire. But right now, we are all experiencing this universal, earthwide baptism of water. Yeah.
So Charlie, can I just ask you, back to my original question, where'd you get this information from? Like, how were you able to put all the dots together? Do you have like inside information?
Well, first off, we've had people come to us, and it is so I think at the very highest level, and I can't say too much. But
I get that.
But here's how it started, and it's lots of people are contacting us, and typically what we're getting is an unbelievable people coming from Illuminati families, people coming from children of the CIA officials, and they're just saying, I don't know how you know what you know, but what you're saying is like, wow, I don't know how you know what you know, but what you're saying is the exact truth. You see everything that's been going on, and I just want to tell you my story. I want to share with you my story. And so we've had person after person, and how they get our phone number here in Mexico, because a lot of times they're literally contacting us on Colleen's little Mexican cell phone. So how they're getting this number, I have no idea, but they're finding us. Sometimes it's a drop in an email or a drop in a message on Facebook, and then it's coordinates to meet someplace else and whatnot, and then they're sharing the most extraordinary information. So what started to happen is that people began to contact us, and we're basically in the beginning asking, how do you know what you know, especially about your understanding of God and the inner workings of the brain and human. How do you know what you know? And it's like, because there are books, but all of the books are kind of confusing and misleading. How did you put it all? And so we just talk to them honestly about our meditation, a deep connection to God, and how everything that comes to us, we take it back to God via meditation, and it has to sit right with us. So it doesn't matter who it is. If something is shared with us, it has to come inside of us via meditation. And then sometimes it happens immediately, sometimes it'll happen a day later. But we have to know with certainty that what's being said is the truth. And that's essentially, that's God stamping approval on what's being said. So in terms of the Q team, we have received, and we are continue to receive, but they're droppings, and they're very cryptic. So isn't that very much like Q? Isn't Q very, very, very cryptic? And it's never very much. And I think that they know they don't have to, because we can decode the rest. So we're given some, and we take and flesh it out, the rest of it. And so basically what we find, it is always we're always kind of a step ahead, right? I think if most people would say that about our channel, is that we're always sort of a step ahead. I think that's because what these folks are doing are allowing us to foreshadow gently, lovingly, consistently. Hello, beautiful. Hi, beautiful. Hugs and kisses. Allowing us beautifully, lovingly, gently, calmly, logically, peacefully to foreshadow what's coming. And so I'm doing a show with Charlie Ward on Friday. And we can talk some of it today here as well, if you wish. And I was going to also talk about it, but some of the newest things, and the plan is always adjusting because they're always having to respond to the cabal and what's happening at the other end. But so there are new updates to things like NESARA. There are new updates to the Tesla towers, to the 5G. And there's new information about Bill Gates. I want to just confirm to everybody that Tom Hanks, like we said, Tom Hanks is absolutely dead. Do not fall for this stuff. The story that you're hearing right now about Tom Hanks received, citizenship in Greece. This is a story that originally ran on CNN in 2018. CNN replayed it in December of 2019. And for some reason now they're replaying it again, and everybody's going, "Oh, Charlie, you got that one wrong," because Tom Hanks is clear. "Oh, where'd you hear that, CNN?" Sorry, did you just say you're a truther and you get your information from CNN? That's all they do is lie. So Tom Hanks is dead. And remember, I know, Jen, you'll understand this, and Liam, you both will know this. We're all hearing that so many have been killed. That's not true. There have been executions. I would say, from what I understand, it's somewhere around 60 to 70. It could be a little more, but it's mostly foreigners, and it's mostly people from the Vatican, and it's mostly Jesuits. And when you catch them, you have to capture them, and then you have to do what you need to do. And they're given quick tribunals, and they're executed. And most of this has come from these Jesuits in the Vatican. Why? Because they put children at risk. So if anyone has been killed, it's only because they cannot ensure the safety of children because of their vast secret networks. So Prince Philip absolutely has been executed. The Queen and Charles, I believe very strongly, are alive because they want them to stand trial. They want you to see this. They want the British people for years, who there's the pro-Queens and, and all these people. Yes, no, I love the royalty. They're just fabulous, just wonderful. No, they're Vlad the Impaler. They're absolute demons. And you need to hear this, and you need to see this, and you need to see her, and you need to see her in reaction to these charges that are going to be labeled against her and Andrew and Charles and all of them. They're just evil, 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 evil. So they want these tribunals. They don't want to kill people. Tom Hanks was killed because he's not who you think he is. Everybody thinks Tom Hanks is a great Hollywood actor, and I love those movies, and he's so hard at work. No, that's like a highlight. That's an alter ego. Tom Hanks is the coordinator of adrenochrome and the doling out of adrenochrome to the West Coast, and in particular the southern West Coast out of Los Angeles, for all of these famous people. So when they were all flipping out and they were having all of those videos at home in their adrenochrome withdrawal, when Trump tainted the last batch and then destroyed the rest, they were all doing these cryptic messages to Tom Hanks, always to Tom Hanks, because Tom Hanks is the one that brings in the adrenochrome for them to go, yes, here's my money, give me my adrenochrome. That's his real role. And Tom Hanks, we have a huge about Chrome and Cabal's secret code for it, which is A113, adrenochrome 113, A113. Nobody seems to know what A113 is. So we decode it for you, what it means to them, and adrenochrome, and how evil this is, and how it relates to Disney, and how it relates to Disney's animation arm, which is Pixar. And Disney's Pixar studios, most of these people go to this California arts and graphic design. They're the filmmakers for Hollywood. And they have a very famous classroom there, and it's called, the classroom is numbered A113. And all these directors that go through this program are being taught in how to do these movies, but also symbolism as well. And so what you're finding in all of these movies is the most horrific information in plain sight about adrenochrome. And it's in all of their movies. So in the movie, what we show you in Toy Story, Toy Story is built around these two characters, which is Woody and Buzz Lightyear. Woody is Tom Hanks, Buzz Lightyear is played by Tim Allen. Okay, so Woody, the name Woody is because Tom Hanks is famous when he watches children play, he gets a Woody. Now, this is a true story. This is where it comes from. And so the whole idea of Toy Story came from the mind of Tom Hanks, or from the lifestyle of Tom Hanks. And it's all about Tom Hanks protecting children, amounts of children to produce massive adrenochrome. So we're talking, last 10 years alone, we're talking over 1 billion children have been stolen, harvested, and raped and tortured, and then skinned alive, and then the adrenochrome taken from them. And so this is essentially what all of these movies are about, especially Toy Story. So Woody is Tom Hanks, and in various stages during the animated Toy Story, you have of Tom standing on the shadow, and the shadow is always a penis. And in one famous scene that we're showing, it shows looks like a little boy, just the shadow of a little boy giving fellatio to probably an adult male. And the character Woody is standing on the erect penis, which is a euphemism for, a Woody is a euphemism for the penis. And so that's what they constantly are doing throughout the movie. There's another scene when Woody is captured and they've got an egg carton over top of him. What's holding the egg carton down is a red toolbox. And on the name of the toolbox, it says Binford Tools. Well, Binford is the name of the supposed supplier of the Tim Allen TV. Remember, Tim Allen had a TV show where he played like this, this tool guy who did shows and stuff. So it's like a show within a show. And the major sponsor on his TV show for Tool Time was Binford Tools. And it just happens to be that on the toolbox that it's Binford Tools. And then you start looking into, well, what does Binford mean? Binford is two words, bin and ford. What is a ford? It's to cross. Cross is crucify, crucifixion, crossifixion, cross, ford, cross, crucify. And bin is a cage. It's where you hold things, just like they were doing to Woody. And it's where you hold things. So it's a place where you hold and crucify things, is Binford. And that's the name of the major sponsor for Tim Allen, okay? And what's the name of his character? Buzz Lightyear, okay. In Hollywood parlance, because adrenochrome is so strong, because adrenochrome is the essence of us, of our creation. And of course, it's extracted when children are on the verge of dying. That's why they have experts torture them, because they have to keep them alive for as long as possible. So it's not like they torture them for 10 minutes. They're keeping these kids alive with their heads in nooses. They're keeping them alive for up to 2 hours. For up to 2 hours before they finally kill them. That's what they're doing. So this adrenochrome is so strong that when you take it, you get a Buzz Lightyear. And the joke in Hollywood is that the adrenochrome buzz, because they take it sublingually, they put it underneath their tongue, and it goes directly into the bloodstream. It's so strong that it lasts a light year. Buzz Lightyear, drinker of children's blood. Buzz Lightyear. Woody, the one who gets a Woody from watching kids play, Tom Hanks. Those are your two major characters in the movie Toy Story. And in every single Pixar movie, except The Incredibles, is this mysterious truck called the Pit Truck. And every movie's going around and it delivers pizza. And the truck is canopy. What's hiding in the back of the truck? And the symbolism on just virtually image after image after image is just absolutely horrific. And that's the movies. That's the entertainment that our kids watch. And then again, look at what our kids read. The Grimm's fairy tales. The Grimm's fairy tales is adrenochrome 101 in plain sight. They're evil. They're sick beyond description. And they're the wicked, the old witch and Hansel and Gretel in the forest and fattening them up. And then, it's horrific. It's absolutely horrible. Pinocchio. Does anybody reread? Well, you'll see it in the video, the podcast that we're going to release very quickly here about it. But again, Pinocchio, the whole story of Pinocchio. And what is Pinocchio? Pinocchio is the pineal gland, the boy with the pineal gland, pineal gland. That's what they want. Yes, they'll take the adrenals because the adrenals are giving life. They're very important, but it's the pituitary and it's the pineal gland that they really want. So, and that's why you have these images like Lady Gaga going to an award show and she's wearing a costume and it looks like her face she's been skinned alive. And so her head is fried and her skin is like way up. And it's unbelievable. It's like the worst dream ever. And Colleen and I just keep wishing it wasn't true. But it is true. And we've got to awaken people to this and the amount of truthers. And this is what we just keep saying, that the biggest names that in the truth community, that unlike, say, Sasha, that has a firm and strong spiritual background, the ones that are just constantly the biggest names with the biggest followers, and they constantly are just rabbit hole. It's all rabbit holes. They're always going down and never going up. None of them say that Trump's a good guy. None of them say that the Q team is real. None of them are saying that there's any plan to save us, and none of them and most of them are discounting that what's going on with the kids is even real, or if it is, it's just a fraction. It's a small group of people. It's not that big of a deal and stuff.
Charlie, who are you? I mean, I know that you're talking about referring to David Icke, and I do want to just mention something about him. But who else are you referring to?
Oh, Max Egan is Max is just the absolute worst. I mean, when's the next ice age coming, Max? There's no God in any of their teachings. And if you're not teaching God, you're not teaching the truth. Yeah. We live in a controlled environment that's protected. We never have to worry about the weather. There's never been an ice age. They're lying to you. There's never been an ice age. No, Charlie, the 500 years ago, there's a mini ice age. No, they're lies. And they get away with it because it's something called peer review. So one person makes up a lie, and then everyone at these rich, famous, credited institutions, they come out and they say, oh yeah, he's exactly right. Yeah. Because they're all adrenochromers. They're all protecting one another, and it's just lies and lies and lies. It's like dinosaurs. Oh, for sure there were dinosaurs. Really? Show me a real dinosaur bone. Well, just go to a museum. Okay. Yeah, I went to a museum and the bones are fake. Oh, well, of course, because they're so old, they'll decay. We got them. Trust us. We can't show you them because they're hidden away to protect them, but we got them. This is just a facsimile. And so, yeah, they're lying to us about everything. Everything is a lie. And
just,
this is what we're getting.
So just to stay on that subject, we just happened to catch an interview with David Icke, and he was being interviewed by Laura Eisenhower and David Rodriguez. And I'm really good friends with Laura, and you know, I know that she really is very, very respectful towards the Trump administration. And what a question came up, and they were like, "What is your opinion about Trump and Q?" And I actually like David. I think he's an all right kind of guy, and he doesn't irritate me. I can listen to him. But I was like, "Go on, David, this is your chance. Like, everyone, we've all been waiting for you to like answer this question." And he said, oh God, he said, well, the thing is, Trump's just like the rest of them. He's just a puppet, and he's ruled by the Zionists, and he's like Biden. He's like, Biden's a puppet, Trump's a puppet. Everyone thinks that he's this free person, this individual person that doesn't answer to anyone. But unfortunately, guys, he is a Zionist puppet. Could you? I'd like you to speak about that, Charlie, because this is one thing that comes up a lot with this narrative, this particular narrative about saying that he's a Zionist. What would you like to say about that?
Well, okay, thank you. First off, folks, again, like I tried to share in that video, there's no such thing as a Zionist. And for that matter, again, this is not designed to offend. It's the truth. You have to deal with the truth. There's no such thing as a genetic Jew. A Jew is one who seeks for God inwardly. It's what it says in the Bible. There's no other reference for a Jew. Now, they've made them up now through peer review, and they protect it through peer review. But a Jew is one who seeks for God inwardly. So when people say that, you know, Christ Jesus was a Jew, absolutely, of course, because he was one who meditated in deep search of God. That is a Jew. So the great thing about these 13 Phoenician families is that they create buffers. They protect themselves. And that's what this 10 steps, these last 10 steps that Q talked about, he called them the last 10 great reveals. Number 10 is Israel. It's the last of the reveals that has to be taken down. And then all that's left is Venice. And once you get to Venice, that's it. There's nothing else. Venice is a ship at sea. Venice is an island at sea. It's where your birth records are. It's where all of the records about you and Liam and myself, they all exist in Venice. Why? Because it can't be on the land. Why? Because if it's on the land, it would be in contradiction to God's lawfulness and laws and righteousness. So on the sea, they can do anything, get away with anything, say anything, store anything, because the wild seas have no laws. That's why there are pirates. They take upon the seas. So who are the Phoenicians? The Phoenicians are the first massive culture of shipwrights, and they traveled. And what they did is they saw all of these riches upon their travels, and they took them via force, and they brought them back, and they created this massive empire of wealth. And they are the Canaanites. They are the people who live exclusively out of their left brain. There's no mother. There's no holy mother in the left brain. There's no access to God in the left brain. There's no access to the claustrum, Al the chemist, alchemist, alchemy, Santa Claus, the sainted claustrum, Santa Claus. There's no access to Santa Claus in the left hemisphere. The left hemisphere is 10% of the brain's capacity. It's what's called the dime brain. So that is tithing in the Bible. That's why in the Bible, it never says money. It never says give it to a church or a church figure. It says that you must give the 10% to God. That's all it says in the Bible about tithing. Give what? The left brain. That's the 10%. That's the dime brain. That's our dime world. That's why all these great rock songs by all these beautiful, beautiful Gnostic teachers who taught the gospel in their rock songs, Alan Parsons Project, Steely Dan, Dan Fogelberg, Earth, Wind and Fire, America. The list is virtually endless. Brian Ferry of Roxy Music. Roger Hodgson of Supertramp. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. goodly, godly, beautiful people that were teaching the truth about the Bible, the truth about the scriptures and the gospels in plain sight. And that's what they're constantly showing you, that what's wrong is the left brain. And it's a circuit, it's an electrical circuit. And that's what's wrong with these people, the Phoenicians, and why they can do all of these things. But it's Venice. The last line of defense is Venice. So who did they put in front of them? See, that's why the necessity to turn Adolf Hitler into the worst human being in history, and the German people as the worst people in human history. I did a podcast. It can't come out on video because they would shut us down for good if I put it out. It's out on LBRY TV right now. But as soon as Trump is very close to passing an executive order that will prohibit any social media platform from censorship. So that's coming, and that's coming sooner than later. Soon as it does, I will release to YouTube my first of 3 videos on the truth of Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. If everything they tell is a lie and an upside down lie, and everything that you've been taught about Adolf Hitler is therefore a lie and an upside down lie, then what would Hitler and Hitler's Germany be, commonsensically, if it were the opposite of what we've been told? And therefore, who are the real villains of World War II? And the story is just unbelievable. And the Adolf Hitler and Germany was all about God, was all about sacrifice to God. And they were just the most beautiful, goodly, godly people. And they've gone down in history as the worst people in history. And again, if I say this, that somehow I'm a kook or a nut, no, I'm telling you the truth, the absolute truth. And again, the highest people of the Q plan and they know this too. They've been through all of our work. They know this too. They absolutely know this. And eventually in time, all of this will come out. It'll come out slowly because just the truth about who Oprah Winfrey is or who Tom Hanks is going to be more than the average person can possibly handle.
Charlie,
so it'll be a slow go, but that's it. So I just wanted to say, to finish there, Zionists are not real. The whole state of Israel was created. The whole Holocaust was manufactured. The whole World War II was manufactured to be able to give them a reason to justify and take the Holy Land. Why the Holy Land? And why has it been at war ever since? With all the military might and money that Israel has, why don't they just, defeat Palestine and be over with it? Because that's not the point. The point is never about making money. The point is never about winning a war. The point is that it's constant chaos. Because if it's constant chaos, then we stay here in our left brain, because those are the beta brainwaves. The beta brainwaves that make us insane. And that's what the 5G network was going to do. The coronavirus is fake. The 5G network is real, and it was going to turn our brains to mush via the waves that it was going to emit. Everything is about human physiology. Everything is about these invisible waves. So there is no Israel. So what do you want to say about Zionists? And so when David Icke talks about he's just a child of the Zion, there are no Zionists. So, I mean, just if you want to say that, David, then just be honest and just say, well, he's a Phoenician. He's owned by the Phoenicians. He's part of what we call the cabal. But those are the Phoenicians, the 13 Phoenician families, the black nobility. And their number one chief agents are the Order of Jesus, the Jesuits. The Jesuits are the real mafia. And so the Vatican City in the Catholic Church is big front number 2. They're not holy, man. It's not about religion. It's not about God. They don't know anything about, they don't practice anything about God. They don't do anything that's goodly or godly. They're businessmen. That's why when you go into the Pope's office room, the main office room, his whole walls are maps of the earth, all maps of the earth. And by the way, it shows a flat earth they're using a flat earth map on the Pope's walls. And because it's his property, it's the papal see. They've claimed ownership over it and us. So there is no religion. Religion is fake. It's a front. And that's the Phoenicians. There's no genetic race of Jews. There are no evil Zionists. It's the Phoenicians. And you just keep going through all of this and these various constructs that they made up over time. They're buffers or barriers to protect them, because up until recently, nobody's really even known about the Phoenicians, the 13 Phoenician families of the Black nobility. That's how good they are. And it gets blamed on somebody else. It's always blamed on somebody else. So that's, guys, that's what I wanted to say about that. The heart of this is that not Israel. Israel's a puppet for Phoenicia. Vatican City is a puppet. The financial district of London, the Rothschilds who control the financial district of London, is a puppet for Phoenicia. And Washington, D.C., which is the military arm, and the whole city, they know this. They know their founding fathers were all Freemasons who were in on all of this. You know, you guys know how Washington, D.C. was made, right? All of it is Freemason symbology to the false god Baal. And the Washington Monument is placed exactly where it is. And the height of it above the ground and below the ground, it's 666 feet. And it's the penis. It is the masculine, and there's no womb. There's no feminine there. And that's who they are. They are the rapers and pillagers. They're the pirates of the seas that came to the land, and they're rapers and pillagers, and they don't love women. They don't exalt the woman, the sacred feminine. They rape her. That's all they do. And they eat children because they're Canaanites, and Cain ate Abel. Cannibal. That's who these people are. So please, folks, that's why I say, whether he doesn't mean to or not, it doesn't really matter. The teachings of David Icke, the teachings of Max Egan, the teachings of Crow 777. A lot of people aren't going to like that because they just think Crow is just, all about, and then especially that second hour. That's a real good one. The one you got to pay for. That's the real good one. God's information is free. It's free. It's free. It's free. And it's on 24/7, 365. There's no limitations. So that's how we have to be as well. And these people, whether they're paid agents or not, it doesn't matter. They're performing like paid agents because they tell you a bit and a piece of the truth and not the whole truth. And what have Colleen and I promised to do? What's our sort of, saying about Freak Sense TV or Freak Sense, Charlie Freak? It's that we tell you the whole truth, because that's what the truth is. The truth is holistic. It connects all dots and all things because there's one story. Therefore, there's one truth. And that's why we do what we do. And again, we do all of this. People can donate to our animal rescue sanctuary if they wish, because that's what we do here in Mexico. We currently have 45 different animals, but they're all injured, all abused, all tossed away. And if we didn't take them in, we didn't have a plan to do this, but if we didn't take them in, they would have died. We have no choice. It's like what I was saying to you earlier about allowing the cows to graze on our big plot of land in our area here, and they poop everywhere and they create so much work. If I didn't allow them to do that, then 5, 10, 12 of them every year would get run over by these huge semis on the road that goes through our countryside area here because they drive so fast. I can't have that. So at the end of the day, I just have to do what's right. And I trust, take the load off Fanny, put the load right on me, take the load off the left brain and put the load right on the right brain, God, trusting God. And that's all I do. I trust that God will give me the strength. like last night, Colleen came downstairs and it was, I think, 6:15 in the morning. She said, you should really get to sleep. Just working on the Adrenochrome A113 podcast. And she said, you should really get some sleep. So I slept until I think 9. And then she looked after everything first thing in the morning, and that's it. So most nights I'm getting no sleep, or I'm getting about 1 to 2 hours of sleep. Now, how can I do that? Because I'm not special any more than anyone else. I'm just another man of mankind, of God's creation. I do this because I allow God to work through me. I just give myself to the Father, and that's righteous. That's going to the right. That's casting thy net to the right. And that's all we have to do. Trust in the Father. He'll never let you down. And then you see, you're getting your information from the 6th and the 7th chakras, the sixth and the seventh senses. The sixth chakra, the sixth sense is intuition. The seventh chakra, the crown, is telepathy. When you live in the higher mind, when you take no thought of the left brain, when you live in the right brain, then God works through you. And you're a mini Donald Trump, you're a mini Cyrus, and God works through you. And the messages come to you via intuition and telepathy. There's no words spoken. There's no great jolt. They just happen. And they never happen a moment too soon, and they never happen a moment too late. They always arrive exactly when they're needed to arrive. And that's how Colleen and I live our lives. I want to share this with you. We are who we have portrayed ourselves to be is exactly who we are. And the reason that we've come public and done all of this is because, like yourself, like both of you, somebody has to come forward and be goodly and godly. Somebody has to come forward and tell the truth, because we're just hearing some good things from David Icke, and we're hearing some good things from Max Egan, we're hearing some good things from Crow 777, we're hearing some good things from Mark Passio, we hear some good things from David Wilcox, and we hear some good things from Laura Eisenhower. And then we listen a little further, and it's just like, wow, how can they even think that? How can they even say that? How can you make that wrongful connection when you've just said this? Because there's one path, there's one way, there's one truth. And if you're truly genuine, and if you're truly going within, and if you're truly seeking for God, you'll find that truth, because it's the way, and God wants you to find that truth. So it's why we do what we do. And so the reason our videos, like you say, we speak with conviction, because we know that's the truth. We know this is the truth because we've cleared it with God, and because at the highest level, people have said things or are sharing things with us. Why? What have they said to us? They've all said to us the same thing: because you're saying things that nobody else is. You're connecting dots that nobody else sees. How? How did you figure this out? How did you do this? And I think for quite a while, Colleen and I were discussing this. I think for quite a while, we've been watched from a distance. I think probably from the Q team, I think from the white hats, and I think we've been watched and observed, and I think they've been going, are these people for real? Because theirs is a very small group, by the way, and it's just family everywhere. JFK Jr. and Carolyn, they have family, and that family is hard at work. They're all part of Trump's family. They're all working for this. And by the way, people constantly say proof, that Trump is a Zionist and he's not good because of Trump's son-in-law. Trump's son-in-law is a kid that was born into a horrific family, and he jumped ship because he believed that he could be protected by Donald Trump. Do you know how many of these kids out of those horrific families would jump to the side of goodliness if they felt that they could live, if they wouldn't be killed for doing it? I would bet hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of them would do so, because they're tortured themselves from childhood so that they are barren souls when they become adults who are willing to do anything. So there are good people everywhere. See, everyone has just got this upside down. We all think that there's just evil people everywhere. No, there's good people everywhere. There's good people everywhere who want to do the right thing, but they don't know how to do the right thing because nobody's telling the truth anymore. And if there are some people that are telling the truth, they're telling little bits and pieces of the truth. That has to stop. We have to tell the whole truth. We have to tell the whole truth. So all these people, these literalist Christians that just love and love and love, and they've exalted Jesus above God. I don't want to be the mean person. I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but I have to tell the truth. And the truth is that Jesus Christ is a creation of the order of Jesus, which are the Jesuits. They're the worst people. They are the worst people in the history of the world. By the way, they're the ones that proffered up Albert Einstein and told the world that he's the smartest guy in the world. He wasn't, not even close. And they're the ones that did the theories of relativity. Now, remember, the first theory of relativity was special relativity. And when they put it out, scientists who looked at it just said, this is crap. And by the way, you haven't accounted for motion. And they're like, oops, sorry. And they took 7 years before they released general relativity. 7 years, they re-released it. Einstein, of course, re-released it because it's Einstein who was doing this. It's not the Jesuits. And 7 years later, and after 7 years, do you know how they dealt with motion? They didn't. They just created the concept, the theory of gravity. And everybody buys this. Yeah, of course there's gravity. I mean, I take a tennis ball and I submerge the tennis ball in water. So it's just filled with water. And then I just spin it in the air and all the water falls off. But of course there's gravity. What? We're at Earth's surface where the gravity is supposed to be the strongest. We're on a positive gravitational environment. And we're being told that quadrillions of salt water are hanging to a ball, that everyone in Australia is literally living and walking upside down. None of the ocean waters is falling off into space. And by the way, they don't even have an answer for the vacuum of space and our atmosphere. How come it doesn't suck? We don't really know. Where does our atmosphere end and where does the vacuum? We don't really know. But trust us, it works. You know, of course it works. And it's like, no, it doesn't. Prove it. Well, we can't. Yeah, that nothing that they tell us they can prove because it's all theories. They're lies. They're lying to us. They're lying to us about everything. And we believe it because somebody in a suit and tie tells it. And so when somebody on YouTube comes along and, no, you're a kook, you're a nut. And so it's just, we've got it all wrong. We got it all backwards. We do, and we have to change. And the simple answer to everything is to just start by becoming righteous. Make every single decision you make in the best interest of all life, not just mankind, all life. God created all life. Sentient beings feel. Cows are uber intelligent creatures, and they feel beyond levels that we can only comprehend. And we have to stop what we're doing. Even if meat, dairy, and eggs were the greatest thing in the world for us, and they're not, because you see, as frugivores, we're alkaline beings. That's why I teach alkalinity so much. If you go onto Freak Sense TV, you just see video after video about alkaline, because it's all K line, align. And K is the master number, right? K is the 11th letter of the alphabet, number 11. The three master numbers are 11, 22, and 33. Right? Father, Mother, Child, Holy Trinity, right there. The master number is the 11. Why? Because the 11 represents the twin temples, the twin towers, the twin pines, which are your twin towers, twin temples, twin pines of Solomon's temple. Solomon's temple is your brain. It's your head. It's your skull. Solomon's temple is describing in cubits exactly the dimensions and size and structure of the human brain. This is stunning. The Bible is stunning if you know how to read it. It's absolutely just this incredible creation. And it's not even the whole Bible. That they've just torn it up, but it's brilliant as is. It's brilliant. You just have to know how to read it. And so all of this is just teaching, you know, the same thing and the truth in plain sight. It's all there. It's all there. We just have to open our eyes to it. And that's casting our nets to the right. God. It's not about Jesus. It's about God. And what does Christ Jesus say in the pages of the Bible? I of myself can do nothing. I of myself can do nothing. You will do greater things than I. It is only through thy Father that thou shalt know true freedom. It's only through the Father. And then Jesus, when he ascends, when he climbs the allegory of the Holy Land, right? He starts down in Bethlehem, down in the sacrum, and he works his way all the way up. Where is he crucified? At Golgotha, at the hill of Calvary. What do Golgotha and Calvary both mean? They mean skull. They mean skull. Golgotha is place of the skull. This is the mind, the higher mind. This is the crucifixion is right here, the blood-brain barrier. And so you see, you just have to know how to read the Bible. And if you know how to read it, then it's telling you about you. And then that's power. And that's wisdom. And that's where the wisdom and the strength and the knowingness comes from. How do you know all these? Why do you have confidence? Because we've done the research, because we know symbology, because we know numerology. The book that we're writing right now, it'll be finished, I think, in about 6 more weeks. But the book that we're writing is called The Hieroglyphics of the English Language, the story of man from A to Z. And it is. Every letter is a hieroglyphic. Every letter is shaped the way it is for a reason. Every letter comes exactly where it is with every other letter in relation to it, exactly for a reason. And they're all numbered exactly for a reason. K, look at the letter K. Well, let me just do this. So there's a straight line, okay, which is the spine of mankind, the straight line. And that's the path of the straight and narrow that we must follow. And then there's a line that comes perfectly down to the center from up and to the right. Up and to the right is God, the right hemisphere of the brain. Up and to the right is God. Down and to the right is the Holy Mother. That is Gaia, the sacred feminine earth, the physical. And she comes up perfectly to the middle. So what do they create? In the very center of the K, they create the confluence. And if you create a circle around it, you create that symbol of the Trinity, Father, Mother, Child. And what is it symbolizing? Half of the Father, half of the Mother, which means that this is 2 worlds, as above, as one, so below. And so we come back to the truth of truths from Hermes, the Hermetic principle of as above, so below, as within, so without, as with the universe, so with the soul. This is the essence of everything, and it applies to everything. So the sun in the sky is the sun that is inside of you. The moon in the sky is the feminine, is the moon inside of you. This is the Kundalini, and you must rise her up. So again, when you come to our channel, it's intense because we are, I always say this, we are like a galaxy class star cruiser that cost $11 quadrillion. It is the most expensive creation in mankind's history. And we've been gifted, us, which is our bodies and our heads, our minds, we've been gifted this galaxy class star cruiser, and nobody gave us a manual. Nobody gave us the first instruction. Nobody told us where the start key is. Nobody gave us a set of keys. Nobody told us anything. And it's the most expensive star class cruiser in history, because space is not out there. I'm sorry, but it's in here. Infinite space is in here. And space travel is in here. And then anything's possible. Anything's possible. All life exists through God. So all life can exist within you in here, but you must go within in your enterprise. If you enter, you receive the prize. And when you connect to God, suddenly all this knowledge streams to you in real time. This is what happens with Colleen and I. People ask, how can we decode all of these songs and all of these movies and all of these things and the Bible and all of these things in real time so fast, because we learn the code, we learn the cipher. Once you know the cipher, once you have the Rosetta Stone, then everything makes perfect sense. And that's it. So that's just called tapping into the Akashic records. What are the Akashic records? How is the book of life described in the Bible? It has a spine, right? Because the spine is our spine, right? So, but it has no pages, exactly, because these are not physical words. These are metaphysical thoughts. And that is the book of life. The book of life are the Akashic records that is within the ether. And that's all you have to do. You have to open your mind by going within and connecting to God. God, this is the teachings of Santo Spinaci. Santo Spinaci teaches something that is called syncretism, and it is absolutely the truth. Syncretism teaches the truth of our creation. And what does it say? It says that God is stillness and silence. The Father is what is called dielectricity, and he is absolute stillness and silence. All knowing is pure consciousness. So then how does all of this work if God is perfectly still and silent? Well, then we have to have motion. So the second creation, the number 2, the letter B, A alpha, 1 God, A alpha God. So A is God, 1 is God. 2, the shapely curves of the number 2 is the mother. The B is the mother with her breast and her belly, her pregnant belly. B is the sacred feminine. It comes second. And what is the mother noted for? She is magnetism. What is her name? Mary, Mary Magdalene. Why all the magnetism, Magdalene? Why the mag everywhere with regard to the Mother Mary? Because it's all about MAGA. So Donald Trump, how's Donald Trump going to save the world, save America? He's going to do it through MAGA, make America great again. You think that's what it means? It sounds nice and it's great, but mag is magnetism. That's Tesla's free energy. A is alpha, God. So what are the two things that have been stolen from us? Magnetism, which is free energy. So you're never going to have to work again if you don't want to. Once you've gifted free energy, you never have to work again. All you have to do is just, you have pumps everywhere. Great, pump in your own water, and you have power nonstop to fuel anything you want to fuel and create for yourself. And that's all. You're just going to start working for yourself, and you'll do whatever you want to do. And it's going to lead to creation after creation. And then we're going to share our creations with each other. And then pretty soon, after 10, 12 years, mankind is going to be so freaking intelligent because we're going to be sharing all of these creations with each other. It's brilliant. So it's all about mag. So where does mag, the word mag for magnetism, where does it come from? It originates in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit is 2 words, san and skrit. San is saintly, skrit is script. Sanskrit is the saintly script of the Aryans. And the Aryans are the opposite of these Canaanites of the left brain. The Aryans are the ones who built this world for us. They're the geniuses of the right hemisphere of the brain. So you know how all of this came out recently, just a couple of years ago, about Tartaria, Tartarians are Aryans. And where did the Aryans come from? From northern India. What did they create when they were there? They created the Vedic period in northern India. What's the Vedic period? Hinduism, Buddhism, these highest teachings decoding astrology, the night sky. And then because of the Hindu Kush mountains and the Himalayas, you can't go straight up and you can't go to the right because of the mountains. So the only passageway out of India is sort of up and to the left. Where does that lead you to? Persia. Who came next? Zoroaster in Persia. Who came next? Babylon, because Babylon is right next to Persia. Who came next? The Holy Land, because the Holy Land is right next to Persia. What came next? Egypt, because Egypt is right next to the Holy Land. What came next? Greece, because Greece is right above the Holy Land and Egypt. What came next? Rome, because Rome is above Greece. What came next? Europe. What came next? North America, Central America, South. So you see, the whole history of our existence are these beautiful godly Aryans, and they created this language, which is the basis to all languages, and it's called Sanskrit, the saintly script. And in Sanskrit, the word mag, M-A-G, means motion. It means constant motion. So what is magnetism? It's constant motion. So if the father is constant stillness and silence and the mother is constant motion, then that's sex. So you see, everything is about sex because you constantly have motion against a still stationary object. And what does that create? That creates friction. Go to any technical manual, go to any Wikipedia, go to any encyclopedia and look for a definition of what electricity is. They'll all tell you the same thing. The best way to describe electricity is friction. What's electricity? Electricity is the child, is the creation, is the fruit of the womb, is the fruit of the labors between the father and the mother. So everything is everything is sex. And what have they done to sex? Sex is a 4-letter word, isn't it? S-E-X-X. Now it's a 5-letter word, S-E-X-X-X. They've just turned it triple hardcore, evil, demonic, horrible. It's just defiling women, right? It's just all about defiling. It's terrible, but sex is beautiful and sex is sacred. And that's one of the things that Colleen and I practice and we teach as well, which is this white tantric sacred sex, which leads you, exalts you to God. Because when you practice this sacred sex, it raises the kundalini within you. What's the kundalini? It's magnetic energy. What's magnetic energy? The mother. So that's the whole, how do we get the whole family back together here in the very center? So the very center is the optic thalamus, or the third ventricle of the brain, right here. Third ventricle, 3 sides, father, mother, child. How do we do that? We have to raise the chrism oil, which is Christ Jesus, which is the real Jesus, the Christed one. We have to raise the chrism oil. How can the chrism oil raise when everything is naturally through the causation of electric energy, it comes down? How do we get the chrism oil to raise? Via becoming alkaline, by a sacred sex, by raising the sacred mother kundalini rising. And when the sacred mother rises, she raises the chrism oil up with us. And what is the mother known for? She's white, she's pure, she's virgin, she's no whore, she's not tainted, she's pure. And that's how the chrism oil must be when it crosses the blood-brain barrier here. And you see, this is crucifixion. Crucifixion is crossifixion, because when anything, ganglions and nerves, the chrism oil, anything, when it comes up your spine, it can only go so far, because the spine has 33 vertebrae. What's the 33rd vertebrae? It's atlas. What is atlas? It's completely different from the other 32 vertebrae, isn't it? The other 32 vertebrae are like this. They're open so that they allow everything to pass through them. So it's a super highway, but the highway shuts off at atlas, the capstone. And that's what atlas is. It's a capstone. It's the strongest bone in the body, and it blocks the passage. So what does everything in our physiology, they don't teach you this because they don't want you to know this, but it's the truth. How does everything that's traveling up the spine, like nerve ganglions as well, how do they continue? They have to go up and to the right. See, casting thy net to the right, you have to go up and to the right. So everything in human physiology in the spine has to come up. And when it gets to atlas, it has to go up and around. And when it goes up and to the right, it then has to go back into the left to get back into the brainstem. So the brainstem is above atlas. So the spine is below atlas. The brainstem is above atlas. And so what these nerves have to do, the blood-brain barrier, everything has to go up to the right through the blood-brain barrier, and then it comes back in through an opening in the brainstem called the hypoglossal. And there it continues back up. And this little zigzag, this little jog of everything creates this. That's a cross. That's the crucifixion. The crucifixion is crossifixion, which is that we must, to exalt ourselves to the Father, we cannot do so physically. The spine stops. So what's physical? Left brain. So the left brain must die upon the cross. That's what this whole biblical story about Jesus Christ is. It's all about the left brain, the electrical world, dying upon a cross, and us living forever, exalting up to the right-hand side of the Father in heaven, heaven upon earth. This is heaven upon earth. And that's why God made it so hard for anything, including blood, to get into the skull. It's very difficult, because this is a journey, and it's a difficult journey, and we have to take it seriously. So it's amazing stuff, guys. It's just absolutely amazing. So this is what we teach. This is what we've done in video after video. And then that's what happened. Just slowly people came to us and said, how did you put all of these things together? How? And then suddenly information just started to appear. And so that's what we do. So we have new information about Nasara. We have new information about Bill Gates. We have new information about Tesla towers and the 5G. The 5G network is completely dismantled. Please, none of your listeners, please do not fear all 5G. There's somebody in Sweden right now posting out an emergency that they've got the 5G towers turned on, and they're not. I haven't got to the bottom of what it is, but it's not the 5G towers. So the 5G towers are completely controlled and owned by Trump and the Q team, and they're all being refit. So remember, guys, what happened a few weeks ago in New Zealand, and then it started to happen in Australia. And people are going like, what's going on, right? Because people in New Zealand are saying there's American military vessels off the coastline, and now we're hearing explosions under the earth, and we're getting earthquakes all over New Zealand. And that's right at the time where the premier, she said there's another COVID scare and everybody needs to stay inside and stuff, and scared people with this abortion, full-term abortions, no anesthetic, and all this stuff. And all of this is planned. So what the Marines are doing is that they're now going from country to country to country, and they are taking out the last remnants and then destroying access to all of these tunnel systems. The first wave went through before to remove as many children as possible. So they're still finding some children, but mostly this is now to just destroy these tunnel systems so that no one can gain access to them again. And so they went to New Zealand first, and they did all of this. While they were in New Zealand, guess what? They tested the first of the 5G towers with these new with the new Tesla tower. Now, remember, they are emitting a frequency at 432 hertz. 432 hertz has been forever known amongst the ancients as the God frequency. The God frequency is 432 hertz because it puts your mind in a place, your brain waves just calm themselves beautifully, and you enter almost into a state of meditation. It's beautiful, and that's why. So it's not just that they're going to be broadcasting free energy via the Tesla towers, this magnetism. They're going to broadcast it through 432 hertz, and 432 hertz is healing. It is going to heal us because that's what we are. We're just cells, and it's going to change the frequency within us to a goodly, godly, beautiful, calm, relaxed frequency. Yes.
I just want to say something about that, because I channel an ascension report, and I bring it through a couple of times a month. And a couple of months ago, I channeled information about the Tesla towers, about the 5G towers, and I literally received that exact information. And it was through a download. It was through like a very, very deep inner knowing, a gnosis. And it's like I was being shown, because I, like yourself, I feel very, very deeply connected to the Q team and to Q plus, and the sort of the frequency whereby that is transmitting. Myself and Liam were very, very, very deeply attuned to that particular frequency. So we are privy to downloads based upon that. And so in one of my energy reports, I was like, don't worry about it, guys. All these 5G towers are going to be transformed to be Tesla coils. I think how I put it together was the generators.
Exactly
he kept on saying about the generators, and I was
like, exactly it.
Last word, and I was like, generators, like what is going on with this generators? And then suddenly it was like dots all came together.
Yeah.
It was as clear as day, clearer than you sitting in front of me now, that they were going to basically get the infrastructure built of these towers, and then it was going to be handed over at the 11th hour to the good guys. And then they were going to then implement these coils. That's what I was shown, and they were going to start pumping out at 432 hertz. This is very, very specifically all of that information I received, and I went into it, and I talked about how 432 is the harmonic kind of frequency of creation that allows for the optimum sort of like, you know, the optimum experience for flowers, for plants, for leaves, for humans. It enables us to really function at our highest optimum kind of like frequency. So I was like quite blown away the other day when you were like, you confirmed it, like every single thing that I had received, you confirmed it. Now we don't have long because we're over the 2-hour mark. So just really very, very briefly, what was your, like, how comes you got that confirmation? Was it a bit of inside information, or was it about the
Yeah,
testicles?
it was. It was a release about and then so we've been sharing this, and the movements are right now are New Zealand to Australia to South Africa. So these are people that have really had it bad and have been panicking and needed a lot of hope. So then we began to share this and give a lot of New Zealanders and people of Australia and South Africa a lot of hope. And they just arrived. The Marines only arrived 2 nights ago in South Africa, and they have a lot of work to do there. There's a lot of tunnels in South Africa as well. But again, this is not just about the tunnels. This is about the Tesla towers, and they've started. And so now, if you pay attention out there, there are people that are posting on Facebook, and they're going, "You can call me crazy all you want, but I live next to one of these towers, and it got activated a few days ago, and it is the most beautiful." So this can't be 5G, because this is the most. I feel amazing. I feel amazing. So don't fear these towers. This has got to be this Tesla thing that they're talking about. Exactly. And by the way, what does a Tesla coil look like? What does a Tesla coil replicate? The Tesla coil looks exactly like a human sacrum, human spine, and the human skull. That's what it is, because it's Kundalini rising. It's magnetism rising. Once the magnetism reaches the top, which is the 13th cranial nerve, that's the whole purpose of Christ Jesus, is to become this, the 13th cranial nerve. And then that is the optic thalamus illuminated, and that's the light of the world. That's what the optic thalamus is called, right? The light of the world. And it's constantly on. And what does magnetism do when it's functioning? It pulses. Electricity vibrates, magnetism pulses. And this is what Tesla towers do. They just do this. And it's a radial pattern, 360 degrees. So nobody will be missed. No one will be missed. That's one of the brilliance of magnetism. It's 360 degrees, and it just goes 432 hertz. And it's breathing. And so Trump, he's such an idiot, right? Covfefe, such a dummy. Oh, Covfefe, doesn't know how to spell coffee. These people are so ignorant. They don't know. Cobalt, vanadium, iron. It's exactly what adrenochromers don't have inside of them, because they partake in this raping and murder of children. That's the elements that they're missing. And what is the basis to these Tesla coils? Covfefe. Oh, he's a real dummy, hey? And again, he makes this mistake all the time. Trump goes on all the time about ventilators. We're making ventilators. I thought that wasn't actually helping people in some way. I don't know what he's going on. He keeps going on about ventilators, but he always makes mistakes. And when he's talking about ventilators, he keeps saying generators. Yep. You got it exactly, Jen. You got it. Because the base of the Tesla coil is a generator, and it ventilates the breath of God upwards.
That's right. Yes.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Charlie. So I've got quite a few people that this is going to be our last discussion area, but I'd love to invite you to come back on the show, because now I've got a real grasp of kind of like the information that you're pulling through. I think that we can structure it really, really well so that our listeners can get so much out of it. So I'd love to invite you back onto the show and invite you to be part of this community. Like, I've got a really, really strong, powerful spiritual community. And but you know, reading these comments, it feels like you're being really, really deeply embraced by our community. So just extending that invitation to you. And finally, what a lot of people are asking, please, can you speak about the missing children?
Yes. So first off, let me say this, that you know how I keep referencing Ayn Rand? Many people may not. It's a shame, because they're some of the best books ever written, The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. But Ayn Rand wrote about what's going on right now, and that's why I think JFK Jr. is behind getting those movies made. But in the movies, this is you know, kind of what they're referring to as well. And so the missing children are being rescued, and they have been. We reported it first at the end of March. There was the Operation Comfort and Mercy, New York and Los Angeles. Then it went to Las Vegas and Reno, and it's just gone everywhere else now. So they have extracted north of, I think now it's over 3.5 million living children. There have been almost as many dead children. Yes, it's horrific. And the things that they have found in the cages down there, I won't even speak to, but just know that they're horrible beyond description. They're scientific experiments. There's a whole race of human beings that have never seen the light of day. Their skin is completely different. And by the way, folks, just so you know how real all of this is and what we've been reporting is the absolute truth. When they were removing the kids out of up into Central Park, so this was when they had those big white tents in Central Park. When they were first removing the kids from these tunnels, do you know what was happening to them when they got to the surface? They were literally imploding because they have been so far below the surface and so much pressure on them, so much more weight of the atmosphere concentrated upon them, that it's kind of like the bends. So it's very dangerous to come to the surface when you've been down scuba diving at great depths for a long time, because the weight of the ocean is compressing your organs, compressing the air out of all of your organs. And when you come up, you're just flooded with oxygen. And then it's painful beyond description because oxygen is flooding into the most tiny of areas. And it's the same sort of thing with the kids. So this is a learning experience. They're not perfect. They're learning as they go. So when they first started to take these kids to the surface, they were literally turning purple, and then they were just like exploding inside of themselves. Organs were literally bursting, and then they were dying in the soldiers' arms. And the soldiers were just in tears for days with all of these kids that were dying as they brought them to the surface. So what they had to start doing, I hate talking about this stuff.
You don't have to, Charlie, because I think we've all just been traumatized enough, and I don't know if I can take any more. But so you don't have to sort of be graphic or anything.
Okay, so listen, what I wanted to say about Atlas Shrugged is because what is John Galt doing? John Galt is taking people who are being used and abused by society, the brilliant ones, and he's taking them away to Atlantis. And what they're doing is they're building, and they were building towers of free energy, by the way, in Atlas Shrugged. And he took them to this hidden place called Atlantis, and they were all the best people, and they were like apparently disappearing or dying. Michael Jackson's not dead. That's who Dave was, this burn victim that was on Larry King all the time, telling the true story about Michael Jackson. That was Michael Jackson under makeup.
Oh, wow.
Prince is not dead. And there is a host of people. You will be amazed at who's still alive. And they have been working with the Q team. They have been working with Donald Trump. They have been working with John F. Kennedy Jr. All of this is true. All of this will be shown. And I believe all of them do want to show themselves again. And I think some of them are going to reveal themselves on an inauguration night on November 3rd. In Washington, D.C. I think some of them are going to come out. But Michael Jackson has been working very hard, and so has another lady from England. Some people might know her by the name of Diana. And she has been working very hard with the children as well. She used to be a princess or something, I understand. And so there is a host of people that are working to help these children, because the things that have happened to them are being, so again, these are children that have never seen the sun. We just need to wrap our heads around this. They don't know that there's a God. They don't know that there's a sun. They don't know blue sky. They don't know wind. They don't know any of these things. And so there is care going on for them that is second to none. They are pouring their hearts and their souls and dollars beyond description to these kids, because it's horror beyond horror. And and it's starting to help. They're beginning to learn this process a little better, how to get them out. So they're going down into the tunnels. The medical teams are now going down in, and they're not bringing the kids up right away, so that they're now having, this is why it takes so long. And everybody's like, I know, but I'm stuck at home and I have to wear a mask. Can't this go faster? And it's like, oh, if you only knew what we knew, or if I could fully explain what is going on and stuff. We have to stop being these selfish people and worrying about COVID-19 restrictions. Yeah, it's a joke. The whole thing is, there's no such thing as COVID. It's a joke, but you have to endure it. But endure it for the kids. This is what is priority number one. This is what's taking so long to do all of this stuff up, the cleanup and the mop up and all of these things. It's the kids, because there are complications and problems from them living so low under the ground and never seeing the sun. They can't go anywhere near the sun. Their skin is exposed to the sun for more than like 10 seconds. It starts to just disappear. Like, it's like thin paper. And it just begins to just disappear. So these soldiers, now remember, I want to explain this to people. They're called Q brigades. All of these kids, and they've all been deputized as sheriffs. And I want to explain this to you. The law of the land is lawfulness, is God's laws. There's only 3 laws. And that's where this tradition has come from, sheriffs. Sheriffs are people who upheld the law. And what they did is, there were no courts. They went from place to place, and they heard disputes, and they settled disputes like men and women. They shook hands and they said, you need to help this person for 10 days. You need to give this person this much of your crop, or this is what you need to do to make restitution. And that's what they did. These are the true law enforcement officers. Police officers can't exist. They're illegal. They're unlawful. They are a creation of this maritime admiralty system. So any ticket you've ever received, any loan you've ever taken, is all going to be destroyed. And don't worry about it. Don't pay a ticket. Don't pay your loans. It's all going away very shortly anyways, because they can't exist. So the sheriffs, these Q brigades, are kids that just wanted to be part of this. And they're the ones that are going down in the tunnels. And these kids have been devastated by what they've seen in the tunnels. So every time, that's why I have spoken out against these big names in the truth community, because every time I hear someone in the truth community deny any of this stuff, that's what I say, shame on you, shame on you. You don't take the time to do any research to learn the truth. And if you knew the truth, you beat yourself up for just being so selfish and so ignorant and so lazy. So
wow. Well, Charlie, thank you so much. I mean, that's the comments are absolutely amazing, and I think that we've definitely given our listeners a lot to digest. So have you written any books, Charlie? Because people would love to buy your books, I'm sure.
Well, this is how my journey started. About 7 years ago, I started to write the 150 most important rock albums in music history. And this was just all of these goodly, godly, Gnostic teachers of God's truth in these songs. And you'd be amazed at who these people are. And the songs, they just tell it all. Like, and I've been decoding on our site. You can go take a look, like at Ricky, Don't Lose That Number. And the number is Ricky, and just do the numerology, the gematria of Ricky. What are those numbers? That's the number to God. And so it's just all that kind of is brilliant. So I wrote 150, but I've only released 6 of them because we got absorbed with all of this. And it takes more than 24 hours a day to do all of this. So the books are all done. There are 6 for sale. They're on Lulu. You can find access to it on Lulu. All you have to do is just go to lulu.com and just type in Charlie Freak. They're really amazing books. But the book that I'm writing 2 books right now. And the first book is that Hieroglyphics of the English Language. And then that's going to become your manual to decode everything. That's your Rosetta Stone. That's a gift that I'm giving everyone, and it'll decode every symbol, every number, everything. That's what you need. And then the second book is the truth about Jesus Christ and the chrism oil. And then this is who we are. This is our journey. This is that one journey, the hero's journey. And it's got the unicorn in it. It's got a dragon in it. It's got sword fighting. It's got a tower. It's got a king. There's a queen. There's a prince. And yeah, it's our story. That's why it's in all these Hollywood movies and all the books. It's the one story. And that's the big book that's coming
That's
after
great.
that one.
So can I just ask you, Charlie, could you post the link? If you go onto my page and in the comments section, if you could just post the link, that would be great, because I think you're going to get a lot of support. I mean, the comments are amazing. And if you want to also add a link to your YouTube channel, just so that everyone can connect with you and your teaching. And yeah, definitely. And it'd be great if you could put this video on your YouTube channel so we could link up our communities. Yeah,
sure.
that'd be amazing.
I'll capture this tonight and I'll put it up on our channel. I know everyone was really interested. It's just right now I'm banned again. I'm banned all the time on Facebook. So I'm banned again on Facebook right now. But
so Charlie, if you've got anything you want me to share, you can always just drop it to me in Messenger, and I'll happily share it for you. And we can share it in our big group. We've got a big group with like 93,000 people. And it's a really, really active group. So you can really get your message out, and we'll totally support you in sharing your message.
Yeah, and like I said, I've got huge news to share with everyone this Friday on Charlie Ward's show, and just incredible stuff. And so like Bill Gates, and I'm going to show everyone step by step, just like I did. I'm going to show when Bill Gates capitulated and how Bill Gates has been actually working through this whole coronavirus, has been working for Trump. And that's why Bill Gates made all those mistakes. That's why Bill Gates is now the most hated man in the world. Because that was his penance for the things that he's been doing. And by the way, folks, let me leave you with this little nugget. You know how Elon Musk turned? Yeah. Elon Musk and the space program. Charlie, you must be wrong about flat Earth. It's space program. And Trump just released and said, Elon Musk kept his word, and he has announced the largest Tesla factory ever in the state of Texas. So it's all going to be American built. Tesla. He never said cars. He said Tesla.
Yeah.
What's being built like crazy right now around the world? Tesla towers, Tesla coils, Tesla coils. So Elon Musk is working for the good guys. And there is a lot more to this story about a car factory in Texas. No. Ventilators, generator. Oh, did I say generator? I'm sorry, I meant to say ventilator. Yeah, Tesla coils, Tesla towers. That's right. It's happening. It's amazing. And there are times when Colleen and I we're just jumping for joy. We're walking on air. And then there are times we're just back so low again in pain and for the kids. But it's been an amazing ride. But folks, please know that it's all coming. It's all coming for you. And we're going to be gifted the second chance to get it right. And we have to get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to leave everyone with a message of, now it's about wherever we place our attention. And so place your attention on timelines whereby these gifts are being restored back to us. The children are being saved. We are moving into the golden age. And it's like, this is really where you step into your mastery. Are you focused and obsessively on that Ferris wheel of the samsaric thoughts and fears and worries about how the matrix has been? Or are you using your divine consciousness to project the timeline and the reality that you want to experience individually and collectively? And this is an invitation for all of us to really, really step up now and remember the power of our individual consciousness, and that we each hold the mind of God. And so wherever we focus our attention, that is the timeline that we manifest. And so if we can all align with this fifth dimensional golden age timeline and intentions, then we will manifest this very, very quickly. So it's an invitation for all of us. And so if we find ourselves dropping our frequency, then there's so many tools, like have a nice hot bath, go on a rampage of gratitude, really bring your awareness to being present, play with a child, stroke a dog, go out and do a random act of kindness. Just there are so many ways that you can shift your energy. And if you find yourself like dropping, then I would definitely recommend not getting trapped in that loop, and actually using that as an opportunity for mastery to focus on that timeline that we want to create. And I think this is really an invitation for us to step up into our mastery. And the more of us that do that, and that we can show Mother, Father, God that that is what we're doing, the quicker we will align with this collective golden age timeline. So I really feel that, you know, this conversation with Charlie has been so inspiring, and I think it's going to bring a lot of peace and a lot of solace to a lot of our listeners. So refer back to this interview. If you find yourself getting worried or freaking out, refer back to this interview. Listen back to everything that Charlie said. Listen to what we've said about the Tesla coils. Like, that's a bit of a synchronicity that we both received that information about the coils very, very specifically. Yeah. So take solace in that. And we'll definitely get Charlie back on the show. So think about any questions, guys, that you want to ask Charlie, and we can definitely go deeper next time. So we'd just like to say thank you so much.
I just wondered if you saw the, you know, on the periodic table for coffee.
Yeah.
You type in the numbers, the first search result is a website, and you go on that website, and then it's got a big picture of a toad, and it's got 3 hieroglyphs on, and one of the hieroglyphs is in our bathroom, and like every time I sit down on the toilet, I just focus on this hieroglyph.
Yeah, they're called Fifi hieroglyph.
It is a marker.
Like a person on a computer, and then the DNA strand, Wi-Fi.
It is a marker for the entrance into the golden age, and this is what the Tesla coils are really doing. So I know everyone's going to be so excited about free energy, and well, they should. It's yours. This is a gift from God. Remember, no one's doing you any favors. This is yours. You own all these things. There are investment funds on Wall Street that are in your corporation names that have been traded since you were born and that are worth millions of dollars. You can just check them by signing online to any one of these companies that trade in Wall Street. So in England, just go to any company that has a web page and sign up, just sign into their website. And then you'll eventually just get to this area where you're just able to search for these bonds, and you're just going to enter in your number, and it's going to be the number on your birth registration certificate. Okay. And then that number is you. And that number has been traded for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years in your name back and forth. And it's worth anywhere from hundreds of thousands to millions. Colleen and I have accounts that are worth in the millions. And it's our money. Now, I don't like to even talk about it, because it's not about the money. It's about higher thinking. It's about the children. But I don't want you to think that these are gifts from Donald Trump's a great guy. He is a great guy, but it's not a gift. It's yours. They've been doing this by your sweat and your labor and your suffering and your pain. It's yours. Free energy is a gift from God. It's yours. Nobody's giving this to you as a favor. It's yours. You've earned this. This is for you. All of this, Nasara, is for you. No more usury, no more debt. All your loans are going to be wiped out because they can't exist. No one's doing you any favors. I just want to explain that about Nasara. People have been putting a bad name about Jasar, and it's going to return us to like the Romans and orgies and decadence and all this stuff. No, it's just God's gifts. These are all for us, and they're all ours, and they're just going to be given back to you. That's all it is. Okay. So all that stuff is coming. So I guarantee you there's going to be huge amounts of money coming to everyone. But it's just that we need to learn a little wisdom before we get access to the money. So Nasara is going to go slowly. It has to go slowly because our awareness has to grow ahead of these gifts. Because if we get the gifts first and we have no wisdom, then we'll squander. A fool and their money are soon parted. And we don't want to do that. We want to invest these monies into things for children, into things for animals, into things that will make the world better for each of us. for a well. Put your money to a well and let everybody share in it, and watch the gifts that God gives back to you. Those are the real rewards, the real riches of this world. That's what they're talking about with this golden age and the golden currency, the gold standard. Yes, there's going to be a new currency, and it is going to be based on the gold standard. But the real gold standard is what's coming through these Tesla coils, as you all on your own figured out. That's right. That's the real golden age, is through these Tesla coils and these Tesla towers. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Charlie. And yeah, I think we're all feeling really, really uplifted. And not to compare, but we did just listen to David Icke, and he's so like not solution based. He's so like keeps you in that loop of just like problem. And I just love this conversation. It is so inspiring. It's so empowering. Like, we can really get our teeth into it and like make these shifts and make these changes and go out there and do research, buy these books. There's so much has been expressed, and I really, really am so grateful. But we're hitting in the 2.5 hour point now, so I think we should wrap it up right about now. So what I'll do is how do I end it on Facebook? I don't know if I can end it on Facebook. I might just have to wrap it up with you as well. Oh no, hold on a sec, stop live. Right, one sec. So we'll just wait. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Please share this video. Think about how much you have got from listening to this conversation. So why not gift that to your family and your friends for them to really, really feel a sense of excitement in these very, very challenging times. So I invite every single one of you to please share this video. Share Charlie. He's such an amazing resource, and we're so blessed to have him as part of our community. So on that note, I'm just going to say goodbye to everyone. Charlie, would you like to say goodbye?
Thank you, everyone. Love you. Colleen and I love you more than you could possibly know. And we meditate daily, nightly, and we're projecting a huge protective dome over everyone. So feel strong, feel safe. You are safe. Yeah.
Okay. All right. God bless everyone. And we're going to stop the live stream. See you later.